we've had a really lovely email from a lady called Faye regarding her problem border. Now, if you are somebody who is subscribed to our email, you will know that occasionally we ask for those people who've got small bits of garden that we would find interesting to be able to do and give some advice about. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel.
Hello Rosie. So this is my very problematic border. I will give you a walk down. I'm not sure if you can actually consider this a border. It's a house we bought 3 years ago, an enormous garden, and this kind of concrete thing was in here but wasn't planted at all. So this year I'm a very novice gardener, but I've been trying to plant a few things just to see what will survive here in the baking hot Italian sun. It's clay soil, and the penstemons were doing okay-ish, didn't flower a lot and went very floppy. I'm not sure. I tried to put in some geraniums, the ones that I was assured were okay in full sun, and they didn't flower at all. They just stayed like that, really. I can't remember the name of them. And then the sedums have done very well, considering they were from a very small nursery and were very, very small when I got them. So we've just come back off holiday, so the roses have had a massive growth spurt. These are David Austin roses that I got sent over from the UK, but they seem to be okay-ish. Everything's an ish because we haven't been here for 2 weeks, so you can see that all the weeds have come through. And this is what the massive problem is with this area, is because it isn't a proper lawn. It's, as you can see, I've got fruit trees, loads and loads of trees, bananas. This was all here. It's a very, very big garden, and it's in the country, and so it isn't proper grass. There's loads of self-heal and lots of weeds which have all encroached all of the time into this area here, which I dug up, completely dug up, got all the weeds out, turned it over a year ago. Then I left it completely covered to try and kill off all of the weeds. Dug a ditch, which you can't even see now, dug a ditch all the way around here, all the way around it, so I could try and, again, I was going to fill it with something that would try and stop all of the grass and the weeds getting in. So as you can see, the big problem is there are massive gaps, and I honestly don't know what to do. I tried to kind of make it similar on both sides. The penstemons have grown loads because they were very, very, very small as well. And like I said, I've kind of planted, you know, similar. I mean, I'm going to probably take this vine out because it attracts loads of insects, which we have here in Italy, which then eating my roses. And so, which is a bit of a disaster. And this vine was already here, so I need to take that out because it grows incredibly quickly and then covers the roses really, and gives them, it's too much shade for them, I think. So I did plant some agapanthus bulbs, but they only, this year, little leaves came up, but absolutely no flowers. And then this is a plant that I bought last year and is doing well. And again, I can't remember the name of that either. It flowers quite late July, and has taken up that corner fine. But I really need help with this border because it's problematic. It isn't what I would consider a border. I need to fill it. I need things that will really withstand very, very high temperatures. We got to about 38, 39 this year, and we've only just had a few days, a few hours of rain. So there we go. I think there's quite a lot of work to be done when I'm willing to do it. As you can see, the whole garden needs things doing to it, but I'm just trying to focus on one bit at a time because it's very overwhelming. Thank you very much, Rosie. I have written to you in your Q&A before and you have answered, which has been fantastic. So I really appreciate your advice. As I said, I'm a novice gardener. Thank you.
So Faye lives in Italy and she has these borders which are not the most beautiful, but they are there, and it's something that she's planning to keep, and she just wants some advice on what to do and how to progress. Since looking at her videos and her discussion of what she has, I've then sent her some questions. My questions were: are you prepared to put a lot more plants into these borders? Because at the moment they look very sparse, and also it's allowing a lot of weed to enter into the borders, and really they just look a little bit itty bitty. So that is the first thing. And her answer to that was, yes, I am prepared to put more plants into the borders, but perhaps in the spring, as we've just spent a lot on new ornamental grasses and herbaceous perennials to act as a barrier down on the front lane. Now, I fully understand that, and this will all be budget requirements. And, you know, it's the same with anybody who's got a border that they're doing. I'm not going to give you the highest quote or anything like that. I'm going to just say what you can do, and really it's up to you with the amount of time you have, the amount of money you have, or already material that you can split and move into borders, etc. So do be aware that, you know, you can make these really beautiful straight away if you've got a budget which is up here. If you have a budget which is in the middle, then you wait until the time when you can actually do it. So that is something that you need to think about. All right, so that was it. Right, the next question I had was: the weeds will always be a problem unless there is a physical barrier. Is it possible to do, or you need to think about raising the beds? Right, now her answer to that is that there is a physical barrier between the grass lawn. It's growing area. Let's just say that it's a green area. It's full of all sorts of things. It's perfectly fine. That's what she's got. It's inherited. But she's inherited the concrete areas and blocks that actually make up the borders. So she's got two of these borders. They're quite narrow and they've got these concrete blocks around. And yes, that is a barrier. But from looking at your photographs and looking at the weeds that are, the plants that are in the lawn area, they are getting in. Now that barrier is not stopping them because there are cracks in that concrete, and they are getting in because the weeds that are coming from the lawn and going into the borders are perennial. They're not annual, so they're not something that's blown in by blown in by seed. They are something that is growing physically through the concrete, little roots going in, and then they're spreading and they're going, oh great, you've gone and made this area really lovely, you've dug it all over, you've put in compost, you've covered it with mulch. This is an ideal area for us to just spread, and that is what they are doing. So yes, you have a physical barrier, but it is a broken barrier. So this is whereby I would have liked you to have, I know you covered it over originally and put a lot of matting over there, weed suppressants, so that you could get it clean to be able to start your planting. But unfortunately, because these are perennial weeds and their roots are in there, you need to stop them. So you've got your concrete like this, it's got cracks in it like that. Those weeds are getting in and they're maneuvering their way around in this beautiful area that they've found inside the concrete. What you need to do is you need to put something down either on the outside down the outside of it as a barrier, something that is a little bit like that. Or you need to think about, are you going to change it and make it into raised beds? Now I know that's extra cost if you try and make it into a raised bed. I think your easiest solution is to dig down, probably on the inside, and put a barrier in. You can get these rolls of barrier material that you can just put in on the inside. That will slow down, it won't stop it because you won't be going right the way down, but it will slow it down and make it much easier for you to stop having these weeds sort of ingrowing into that border. And that's your problem, is that they are coming from the outside and getting in. You need to remember you've dug a little bit on the outside to keep a little bit of a sort of ditch, small ditch all the way around. You've got to keep that clean. So you've got to physically remember to keep that clean. Of as soon as you see anything, it's got to be cut, and keep that clean, because otherwise they'll just keep on encroaching and keep on encroaching. And that's what they do, because you have created this lovely bit of ground where they think, oh, let's go and grow there. Then I had to ask, because I need to know, Faye said she was in Italy. I needed to know, what are your temperature range and rainfall? Because this is quite important when I'm going to give you some ideas of planting that you can put in to help you. And basically she's saying she's in Piedmont in the north of Italy, and in May is the usual month that they get regular rainfall. That's great. And so far since July, we've only had 2 full days of rain. Now, obviously there's no indication of the amount, but we'll just take it that it's reasonable amount of rain. Autumn temperatures haven't set in yet, though the leaves are falling thick and fast. Winter temperatures range from -2 to 5 to 6 degrees in the afternoon. So it's not too cold. So a lot of material is going to be fine. Seems like it's a sort of true Mediterranean type of area. So you're going to get quite hot in the summer as well, and relatively dry. So we've got to think about those items of when things are going to get wet, when they're going to be dry, how dry they're going to get. And then, you've got this lovely bed, and hopefully you're going to get that barrier in there. You've already got success with things like the sedum, the hardy geranium. The roses look as though they're doing very well, because your actual soil is quite clay, from what you said originally, so that is good. So lots of things will grow in there. That means it's a very rich soil, so things should grow very well. And I agree with you, take out the vine. It's doing absolutely nothing. It's carrying pest and disease, and you want to change the look of that border completely, so get rid of that as well. Then I wanted to know, do you have any local nurseries? And brilliantly, you said yes, you've got 2 local nurseries that you use, both specialise in herbaceous perennials and ornamental grasses. That is fabulous. So you've got a good range, and it sounds as though you're getting really good help from those people when you're going in, which is excellent, and that is what I like to hear. Is the border to look reasonable all year round? That was why I wanted to know whether you wanted all year round interest. And you said yes, you would like all year round interest. In a rural setting, so there isn't a lot of life during the cold, dark winters. Fine, I understand that. And then, is there a colour scheme, or is it plants that will do well? Because there's no point in me giving you a whole mass of planting ideas and then suddenly finding that actually, oh no, you don't want it to be yellow, and you don't want it to be orange, and you'd rather have white or something like that. So what you have said to me then from that is, at the moment roses are in the bed, Emily Bronte, the penstemon are a deep purple. I've got sedum autumn joy. The plants we've just planted in the long border lane are calamagrostis, miscanthus, gora, solidago, heliopsis, aster, panicum, pennisetum, verbena, allium, and other alliums. Obviously I got help from the nursery owner to plan that border. This gives an idea of the colours, I suppose, that are going to be in the garden. However, I'm absolutely happy with Central Woody, full of other ideas too. As I said in the video, that border is full sun all year round, so the plants have to be able to deal with baking hot temperatures. I fully understand that completely. So I have come up with a list, when I can find it, of plant material that I would suggest would be good for you. You are going to need a lot of ground cover. That is one thing I would say. So grey leafed material is going to be good, and you can get a lot of different things. So there are some beautiful low growing teucriums. There are some alpine sorts of teucriums, so the ones with purple flowers, ones with pink flowers, are slightly taller teucriums. And then you've got your shrubby teucriums with the grey foliage, which are also lovely, and they will be perfectly fine in that area, and they will give you interest right the way through. Teucrium lucidris, and then Teucrium montana, all of those would be great plant material. Things like stachys, but that might get a little bit untidy for the area that we've got. So something which is more Mediterranean is sideratis, and I'm sure that your nursery will have that. That is really lovely, and that's got soft yellow flowers, so that would make a really good matte form of lovely fluffy grey foliage. Then to give you a little bit of evergreen, more leaf structure, then Libertia would be very good. I've just thought of something else, and that is Iris unguicularis, which will give you some flower earlier in the year. So that is good as well. Now Nepetas will be brilliant. They will love it in that sort of area. You can get lower ones, you can get taller ones, and they will look soft and billowy next to the roses. I would suggest you get more roses. At the moment, you've got a sort of planting whereby you've got lines of things like this. That's over exaggerated, and then you might have a plant here and you might have a plant there. You need to make these bigger clumps. So for instance, your roses, I would have preferred you to have planted them in a 3 like so, and then perhaps put another 3 like that. So at the moment you've just got this as your interest, and I think there was a hardy geranium, there was some penstemon down there, so I just look at one border at the moment. Whereas if you had the roses like that, then you could put a bit of nice planting right the way through like that, and another bit like that, and then increase the size of the penstemon so you have 3 penstemon, not 1. And that way you get a much better looking border and a fuller border by ribboning through. Now, the roses will look lovely. They obviously love it there. That's great. You've already said that you've got Gora Oenothera. I think that would look really good in this border. You've got Verbena bonariensis. Try and get Verbena rigida, which is lower, and that will give you some lovely purple through the bottom. I've put Silene in there. That's your lichness type plants. You'll probably find that your Italian nurseries are still using the older names. So because it sounds like you're still buying Gora as Gora rather than Oenothera. So Silene would be lichness, and there are some fabulous ones of those. They will sell seed around as well, and that will give you some filler, and then you can use Verbena bonariensis as well in there. Now I need to think of some other shrubs for you. Rosemary, either the upright rosemary or prostrate rosemary, such as this one here. They look really good. They tolerate all sorts of things, and they're very useful because you can use them for cooking as well. Phlomis fruticosa, that is another good one. None of these are going to get too huge, that's the thing. Or if they do, you can prune them. So this is the reason why I'm choosing them. They are things that, yes, can get a little bit larger, but you can prune them back and they don't mind being pruned. So you're able to manipulate the plants to what you want them to do. Cistus, that's very much a really good plant in your area. There are some lovely ones which are evergreen as well. And then of course there's lavender. You're in ideal conditions for lavender to grow. I know you're in clay soil, but they should still work. So I would try them. But if not, I mean, that is the one thing with those, because you are on clay soil, so that might not be. But your Nepeta will give you that, and the Teucrium will give you that as well. So I've given you a lot of different ideas of different shapes. Now there are plenty of grasses that you could fit in there. I mean, Stipa gigantea would be fantastic in that sort of area. Stipa tenuissima would be great. You'll probably find that would then seed around into your grass area as well. So just be a little bit careful with that. But you know, that's fine. You can just mow over it. But I think with your border, your biggest thing is you've got to get on top of this fact that you've got these perennial weeds encroaching and going into the border. And I'm sure it's because although you think you've got a physical barrier of that concrete, there are cracks, and that's where they're coming in. And yes, you've dug that nice little low ditch. So you've taken it down about 6 inches from what I can remember you saying. You've got to keep that clean as well so that they can't make their way through that area and get to the other side. So it's keeping that bit clean. When you see the weeds or unwanted plants, you get them out. Make sure you mulch this area once you plant, mulch it. And I would plant it just before your wet season, and that will be great in the spring because your plants will go in, they'll get beautifully wet, their roots will go down into the soil, and you'll have a fabulous border. Please do let us know how you get on, and hopefully you can find some of these plants at your local nurseries. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.